All right, welcome to Dudes and Duds. Trying something different this time. I've been thinking a lot. We wrapped up our last season and ended up losing the series. Got swept by just a power hitting, crushing squad. So the Four Horsemen lost in the World Series to the club that had Schwarber, Buxton, and Judge, and they just crushed home runs. So especially in a 20-20 yard. But having said that, I've been thinking a lot about how to value guys, or actually undervalue guys, who just are just singles hitters that are just clogging up the bases, and they're just out there, they're double play fodder. So I'm not a big sabermetrics guy, but I did some exploring on the secondary average. So I took our 24 game season and I calculated the secondary averages of all the players, and then I compared them here to the average draft position in the Stratomatic Tournament Players Club latest rankings, which I think was out around June 18th, and came up with a list of overvalued and undervalued players according to secondary average. So hope you enjoy it. I'm going to explain a little bit what secondary average is, and then at the end here I'll see if I can maybe look at some broader applicability in the Strato world. Enjoy. So secondary average is a statistic in baseball. It measures extra bases gained by players outside of hitting singles. So it includes doubles, triples, home runs, walks, and then also net stolen bases. The idea is any bases that they get above and beyond a single increases the value. All right, we're going to start the overvalued with Jeff McNeil. This guy's interesting. He's going 10th right now, average draft position, and his secondary average for us was 140. He hits singles, but he's a D stealer, so he kind of sticks there without a star. Given he plays a lot of positions, but not relatively that well, and he doesn't have many walks, so very stereotypical guy who, according to the secondary average, is currently being overvalued. Next, we have Andrew Benintendi. Average draft position is 45th right now. He had a 163 secondary average for us. He's power W, which is huge disadvantage. He's got a couple of walks, which drives it up a little bit, but he's basically a singles hitter that, again, doesn't have speed. He's a C without a star. So another guy that currently is being overvalued. All right, our next guy, Yandy Diaz, current draft position right now is 64th. He had a 192 secondary average for us. Again, I love this guy, don't get me wrong, because he does have more walks than some of the other guys, but he's a D. He clogs up the base pass. He's a singles hitter. And, the thing with these guys is they get their singles, they sit there, and they have a higher chance of getting into a double play by the next hitter than much of anything else. So another guy who's being overvalued. All right, Brandon Nimmo, currently 48th as the draft position. He had a 244 secondary average for me, finding Nimmo. Another guy, doesn't have his speed. He's a D. He's got a couple walks, but really his on base is down. And when he does get on base, typically it's a single, and he just sits out there. And on top of that, he's got a +1 arm in center. Given he's a 2E0, but +1 arm burnt me more than not. So another guy being overvalued. All right, these last two are a little bit more probably controversial. Stephen Kwan. Stephen Kwan right now, 34th overall, pretty high draft position, average draft position, but he's got a 263 secondary average for me. He hits righties, but he doesn't hit lefties. The thing with him, he does have some speed, so that helps, and he does have some triple potential on that 1.4, 1.5, and he's got a pretty good glove. But 34 is awfully high for a guy that, frankly, again, is power W against righties and lefties. So again, 34, too high for him. Not that he's not still one of the top left fielders out there, but 34 is overvalued. And the last overvalued guy, this might cause a stir as well, is Andre Jimenez. He's currently going 12th as an average draft position. He only had a 247 secondary average for me. I like those hit by pitches. Don't get me wrong. The 3.5, 3.6 hit by pitches against righties, and he's got against lefties on that 3.6. But again, not a lot of power. Even though he's a power end, he struggles with his power. He's got some speed, which helps, and he's a good bunter, and he got a great glove at first. But according to secondary average, Altuve is a much better second baseman over Jimenez. So right now, 12 looks like, according to secondary average, would be overvalued for Jimenez. All right, starting with the undervalued guy, Cal Raleigh, 115th average draft position, and he had a 650 secondary average for me. Now, given he's not as strong against lefties, but he's not completely useless against lefties, but he strikes out a ton. But the guy just hits the ball a long way when he makes contact. He gets on base. He's productive. That 2.8 double 1 to 11 is the nice nestled right there, and he's got a lot of straight power, which is ballpark independent. So Kyle Riley undervalued. Another one, Adolis Garcia, 122nd average draft position, had a 439 secondary average for us. He's another guy. He's got speed. That stealing A really helps. So even if he gets on with that walk or single, he can swipe a bag and be productive there. And that 2.9, that 2.8-2.9 combo is pretty good. Those are all extra base hits, especially that 2.9 at 1-1-8 double otherwise or 1-1-2 double otherwise. So he's a good clutch hitter, and he's got a great arm and right. So a guy that's definitely undervalued according to secondary average. All right, my man Kyle Schwarber, he's going 64th average draft position, and he had a 684 secondary average, second next to Judge in the league we just got done. He just crushes, with the home runs, as well as he's got walks on his card for on base, and he's sneaky fast. He's a star 19 stealing wise, so he's a guy that just gets extra bases other than just those singles. So definitely, even though he's 64th, says that he's being undervalued. All right, my main man, Mookie Betts, he's going 49th average draft position. He had a 462 secondary average for us. Now, I will caveat this. I did face a lot of left-hander starters, and Mookie is much better against lefties. But again, he's a star 19 on the base pass. He gets on base with his walks, and he's got punch. He's got that homer power, that double power. So a lot of opportunities for Mookie. It's crazy. He's going 49th. And Nemo's going 48th. I'd take Mookie Betts every day over Nemo. All right, Jose Ramirez. His average draft position is 27. It actually is pretty close. He did have a 409 secondary average for us. Again, very typical guy who gets those extra bases beyond singles. He's a stealing of an A. He's a star 17. He's got some walk potential. Great running speed. Pretty good glove. Undervalued, not by a ton though. Finally, Alex Bregman, average draft position of 34. He had a 483 secondary average for us. Really, really good. Doesn't have the speed. He's got a great glove. Doesn't have the speed, but he does have that extra base potential down there in the 2.8-2.9 region, kind of Adolis Garcias-like. And then he gets on base, right, at the walks, which help boost that a little bit too. So Alex Bregman, undervalued. Again, similar to Ramirez, undervalued, but not by a ton at 34. All right, as you can tell, it's kind of an interesting kind of thought there of, hey, it's not just about hitting singles, it's about what you can do other than hit singles. Where can you get those extra bases above just the single? Looking at kind of broader on the statistics, obviously when the probabilities come out, you've got chances for on base, you've got total base chances. Maybe there's something, a formula you can come up with that's kind of can mimic a little bit of what secondary average does for probabilities, maybe total base chances minus hit chances, add that to on base chances, and then add some value for stealing to help try to capture that value. So anyhow, I'm going to be playing around with that probably over the winter, preparing for next season, but just thought I'd share a different perspective on how to evaluate players and some insights from our experiment. Hope you enjoy it, and like I said, might agree or disagree with some of this, which is kind of the point.